Republic we love called Kenya. These acts of soliciting bribes by the recruitment officers or team is not only contrary to their mission and goals, and Mr. Speaker, if you go even to their social media site, you will see that they have portrayed themselves as a premier, credible, and mission-capable force deeply rooted in professionalism. But also, it also goes against the Public Ethics Act and Article 10 of the Constitution of the Nation and national values and principles of governance, which call for, among other things, high standards of professional ethics. In addition, Mr. Speaker, the desire by the young men and women to join the military is a manifestation of their patriotism. In other jurisdictions, Mr. Speaker, such as the US and Canada, the National Guards and the military offer incentives to young citizens to join the military to defend their country. Mr. Speaker, I remember this was the case during the early ages of our republic. Mr. Speaker, it is sad and unacceptable that patriotism has now been shoved to the back because of corruption. The recruitment process has now been commercialized, and the higher bidder ends up being recruited. Mr. Speaker, the youth in their thousands queue for hours hoping to be recruited, but the outcome leaves a lot to be desired. It seems that it's already predetermined. Most of them end up dejected and disillusioned when none of them are recruited. Mr. Speaker, the exercise is therefore a pure waste of public resources and a threat to our national security. Because what stops the enemy from using money to infiltrate into the military? Mr. Speaker, I now wish to call upon the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Defense and top leadership of the Kenya Defense Forces to look into this matter and ensure that the integrity of the recruitment process is not compromised and that there is fair opportunity for all those participating in the recruitment exercise seeking to join the KDF. Further, Mr. Speaker, KDF should identify the rogue officers demanding bribes from job seekers and take appropriate disciplinary measures against them. Mr. Speaker, finally, I also want to call upon the youth and the guardians to desist from offering bribes. Because if you don't offer a bribe, no one will come and you all say you will not give out a bribe.
Don't discuss your statement.
From bribing their way into the military and instead think out of the box and channel their funds into good use. I therefore urge the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations to investigate this matter with a view of holding the military echelons accountable and come up with a more accountable way of carrying out the recruitment process, which could include using community leaders to identify qualified youth. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Langat.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me this chance to add my voice on this. I don't know if it is by coincidence that just some few minutes before Senator Olekina stood to raise this matter, an orphan who had gone to make an attempt to be recruited in Bomet has just SMS'd me that they wanted 400,000. It is so bad that this particular malice is just getting into a military, particularly in our during recruitment. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, unless this one is actually arrested with immediate effect, we shall end up getting the military personnel who purchased their way to the service. And I'm so sure, as they are now getting through compromised, they'll also be compromised in their duties. So this corruption will continue. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, sir, this particular case must be dealt with by that particular committee with a lot of diligence, so that this particular matter that has denied the rightful candidates to be recruited to military, a chance must be handled. I want to say it is so bad. The complaints are everywhere. And in fact, even some people are saying that recruitment takes place 2 months or 3 months before the actual dates. This particular matter has denied rightful Kenyans opportunity to serve their country patriotically. So I want to support this statement, Mr. Speaker, and say that committee must handle this with speed so that this particular situation is arrested. Thank you.
Senator Mbogo, sorry, Ochila yako.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to this concern. Mr. Speaker, I am not necessarily defending the military people. I know that they probably have inability to speak as freely as we do, but this matter is a very complex matter. As I speak in this House, Mr. Speaker, I have had about 12 people approach me that they have money. I should identify some officers who can take that money and recruit them. And I've thought about it and asked myself, how are such officers identifiable? These are Kenyans who have approached me. Some of them are here in Nairobi. Others are in my county, Migori. And when I talked to them, I was quite sympathetic. So what I want to state are two things. It is possible, and it is likely to be true, that there are military officers who are receiving bribes because the talk of bribe is out there. They are receiving bribes in order to recruit people. But it's also true that there are quite a number of brokers who are purporting to be having influence over the recruitment and are preying upon innocent and vulnerable young persons, purporting that they could help them get to the military. But what is more important is the image of the military and the likelihood of the kind of recruits that we might have as a nation. So as we investigate this matter, I hope the committee that will look into this matter will propose a more transparent, a more understandable, and a more humane way of recruiting Kenyans who are looking for employment. The procedure, other than talk of bribe that is being bandied around here, is also very inhumane. The officers who are recruiting people are quite hostile. Some of those people are physically abused. I think as a nation, we deserve better. We need to do better. I want to discourage Kenyans who are looking for leaders, saying they have some money so that those leaders can look for people to bribe. And I want to ask young Kenyans to be firm, young Kenyans to believe in merit, and also the military people to know that their image, their reputation is in tatters and they must work on it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of Minority, Senator Orengo.
Mr. Speaker, similarly, I want to express my appreciation for the request for this statement. It is an important statement, and Abraham Lincoln one time described governance in a democratic system as being a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And one of the ways in which we can truly make sure that the republic in the institution of government is really a government of the people is through enabling people to join government institutions, to make sure that a poor boy from a girl from a community who may be forgotten, who may never have a chance to bring a member of parliament, a senator, or a member of the National Assembly to these august institutions, that he has access to some of these very important institutions, including the army. I know that there are communities like El Chamus who have been fighting very hard for being recognized in many ways, land rights, and also representation. So in a way, one of the things that the military should do is that when they go out there, to have a record that everybody in every county has a fair chance. There are people in this republic who can never really dream of getting a government job, making a simple application in a government institution to be a PS, to be anything in this republic. But at least when this recruitment is being done, can offer himself at some location or center in a ward or in a constituency to be able to be part of this republic. So this is a very important question. And the only thing, Mr. Speaker, which I'd request that in a matter of this nature, probably there is need for compliance with Standing Order number 50, paragraph 2, because sometimes when you request for a statement and you're already making an answer, you're giving an answer to your own statement, then the process becomes a little bit difficult. So I think the clerks should help because already we have formed the opinion, and I don't disagree with that opinion. It would be futile to send this matter to a committee of the House when you have already formed an opinion. But the question and the request for it is validated, is proper, and there should be the fullest inquiry into this matter. And I'm saying this, Mr. Speaker, because I have known and have had experiences in this regard, which I may not give the details here. So it is important for the military and for the disciplined forces to ensure that every Kenyan, however far-flung that community is, has a fair chance to belong to this country called Kenya, not just in the territory they live, but being part of it and part of the institution of government. Thank you.
Senator Mary Yane.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me a chance to also add my voice on this important statement. But, Mr. Speaker, allow me to condole with the family of the late Senator Yusuf Haji, because I was not here yesterday, and also condole with the county of Garissa. Senator Yusuf Haji served as a PC of Rift Valley for many, many years, and so we feel as a country for the loss of the senator. Concerning this particular statement by Senator Ledama, it's really clear that there is a huge problem of unemployment in Kenya. And so whenever an opportunity happens for any kind of employment, quite a number of our youth run to look for an opportunity to serve in this country. It's true, so many of them have been cheated. I happened to have discussed with a certain parent yesterday who told me they've paid 300,000 to a certain officer, and after paying 300,000 and several of them paid to that officer did not even turn to see them where they promised to meet. And so this is just happening across the country. And so I just also want to urge the ministry and also the sector concerned to make sure that the recruitment exercise is transparent, and as our senior Senator Orengo have just said, that they also try to see that there is the equal distribution of these slots to all the communities in all the counties so that everyone gets a chance. And I also want to urge parents not to be rushing to pay people, pay cartels. It might not even be the ministry recruiting, or maybe these are just thieves who have recruited themselves as it is high time that the Ministry of Defense also try to track these cartels who are taking money from innocent citizens. I thank you.
Senator Ross Nyamunga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to register my concern on the matter that has been raised by Senator Olekina. Because if you are in the village, and for example in my village, and even a whole sub-county, it's very difficult for you to put your finger on any particular young person that this so-and-so has been recruited. You hear about the recruitment, a lot of phone calls run. We are consulted so much by our local people to support them. But the issue of corruption must be a giver and a receiver, and it must have originated from somewhere. So at some stage, I think the genuine members of the KDF or all the uniformed services, they must have started the game. And then now, conmen have also come into it. So it is difficult to draw a line when you are dealing with a conman or you are dealing with the right people. But it's a big concern to all of us. It's very difficult. This recruitment should be done in an open manner. They must find a formula of recruiting people whereby Kenyans should be very sure that if you apply, at least you can get a chance. But as it is, it's so difficult. I don't know who is taken. I know opportunities are there. They are now talking of 4,000 people. But in a whole county, it will be difficult for you to point a finger and say so-and-so has been taken in an honest manner. So this is a problem that must be ended because many people have lost a lot of money, including leaders have lost a lot of money because sometimes it forces you to try to help in whatever way. But it is something that is of a big concern to all of us, and there must be a genuine way of recruitment in all the services, not only in KDF. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, I know time is not on our side. This is a very, very sensitive matter and very important. I know unemployment is a real issue. Our youths are desperate and therefore very manipulatable. They can be manipulated. And I also want to agree that we also have brokers. People have even been hacking into people's accounts, Facebook accounts, and soliciting funds, saying, pay 200,000, pay 300,000 for me to assist you get recruited. So as the committee goes to look at this, I want to urge them to adhere, to follow what Senator Chila Yako said, that also come up with the recommendations and a way forward on how this can be improved, because this has been, allegations have been there anytime there is recruitment of people in the forces. So if you came up with a way forward and a formula that will be transparent, assist this country, people to get equal opportunities, that you would have done very well for this country. And this Senate would be remembered for coming up with a solution that saves very, very many youths. Next statement by Senator Musuruve.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 48-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the return to school of learners who are forced out of school as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the statement, the committee should, 1, establish the number of learners who have not reported back to school across all academic levels, including special schools, following interruption of learning as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. 2, find out the distribution and demographics of the said learners who have not resumed school across all counties owing to the impact of COVID-19. 3, explain the framework put in place by both the national and county governments to ensure effective return to school and resumption of studies by all learners. And 4, have mechanisms in place to establish school re-entry centers in all counties to address the plight of learners who are facing challenges in resuming school. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Ochilo Yako.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One of the consequences of COVID is that poverty has become widespread. The household income has declined.